What's going on, peeps? This is Chris Albert. Um, Sometimes I speak a little bit freaking weird. Sorry. This is Chris Albert. Albert. Okay. Got a question from a gentleman. Can't remember your name, buddy. I can remember the question, though. It was basically like this. Chris, if dieting isn't just calories in versus calories out, and more a matter of insulin sensitivity, then how do you explain guys like Matt Ogus and Lovato who are completely shredded and eat carbs like crazy, and eat carbs like there's no tomorrow? And before I say this, I want to say this. One, I got a lot of respect for Matt Ogus as a bodybuilder. I think he's got a great physique. I love his training. I'm not hating on him whatsoever. Two, I'm not hating on flexible dieting at all. I consider flexible dieting more of a protocol than I do a type of diet, and I think it's a way of doing things. And I don't see how it's much different than a lot of stuff that's been done in the past, but we'll get to that. But I'm not hating on it at all. I think that you don't need to eat 8 meals a day set at specific times or anything like that. But what I am saying when I talk about insulin sensitivity and when I talk about overcarbing, I am saying that those particular calories that come from carbohydrates cause some things to happen in the human body that are different from other types of calories. Specifically, an increase in the production of insulin, right? So when I say this, I don't say it lightly, and it may not matter to somebody who is young and lean. But if you have a collection of fat around your midsection and you've been dieting for a long time at a caloric deficit, and you've been eating carbohydrates throughout the day before your workout and not eating them when you're insulin sensitive, and you're not getting rid of that belly fat, then I'd bet my right nut that you're experiencing a problem with mild insulin resistance. I'm not saying you're diabetic or pre-diabetic or anything like that, but I'm saying you're probably experiencing a problem with mild insulin resistance. Those of us, as we get older, who follow these bodybuilding diets and we eat carbohydrates throughout the day, we notice as we get older, it gets harder and harder to lose the fat and build the muscle or feed the muscle, burn the fat. Harder and harder. Just shouting out titles all over the place right now. So when I see guys like Matt Ogus and I see guys like Lovato, the first thing I notice about them is that they're super freaking lean. And you mentioned that those guys are super shredded. Well, according to this premise, if you're super shredded and you're at sub 10% body fat, sub 8% body fat, or even sub 5% body fat, then you're going to be able to process those carbs a lot better than you would if you were at, say, 15% body fat or 20% body fat. You have the ability to process those because you are in a state of constant insulin sensitivity. Now, an example of this is at bodybuilding shows. What a lot of you guys don't know is that there's a quick illusion going on. Many guys dehydrate themselves in a process called sodium depletion, carbohydrate loading, or carb depletion, sodium loading, carb loading, whatever you want to call it. And usually in that process, guys deplete themselves of carbs for like 3-4 days, load up on sodium for the 2 weeks before, and then cut their water and start eating about 1,000 grams of carbs per day. And what you notice with these guys is that the water gets sucked into the muscle and they start looking super shredded. That's because they've made themselves into a state of super insulin sensitivity, right? They are that glycogen is being pushed into the muscle cell and the carbohydrates are using the water under the skin to suck it out. I'm just giving that in as an example. I'm not telling you to do it. I'm not saying that it's a good thing to do. It's not really healthy. But these guys, because they're already super lean, can process this. If somebody who, say, is at 20% tries this, they're not going to get the same results. In fact, whether you try it or not, if you keep eating carbs after those days of carb loading, you start to get bloated and fat and retain water, and you can actually gain fat pretty quickly after trying that process. So the younger you are and the less body fat percentage you have, the more you can handle those carbs. Additionally, what I'd like to point out, and I don't know Matt Elgis, Matt, hey, what's up, buddy? If you ever want to do a video, come on down. I doubt it. But from his reported diet on Simply Shredded, it looks a lot like a traditional bodybuilding diet, and most of his carbs came from sweet potatoes, which is an extremely low glycemic load, and is probably not going to do much to somebody who's his age and eating carbohydrates several times a day. So again, there's a little more there than the calories in, calories out. For those of us who are older, if we continue to eat carbohydrates throughout the day, even if you're younger, if you continue to eat carbohydrates 6, 7, 8 times a day, then you are going to have problems. You're going to have problems with insulin sensitivity, and eventually, if you become insulin resistant, your metabolism is going to slow down, and you are going to gain fat. Now, I'm not saying not to eat carbohydrates. What I am saying is that you should eat them once a day, and in relation to when you are in an insulin sensitive state. Now, I know the IIFYM guys hate nutrient timing and they don't think nutrient timing matters, but insulin sensitivity does matter. Because if you are insulin resistant, you are going to not be processing those carbohydrates the right way. In addition to that, there is something to be said about the lower calories, because if you're eating lower calories in order to get lean, then you're probably not eating carbohydrates as often anyway. So again, that leads to insulin sensitivity. That's my take on it. I hope that wasn't too confusing. I'm a little bit brainwashed right now. But if you put your questions down below in the comment section, I'll try to answer them more clearly in the future. And if you have other questions, hit me up at gettingtoshredded@gmail.com, or check out my Facebook or Instagram, and check out my website, www.gettingtoshredded.com. Peace out.